Hey everybody, welcome to the Dad Challenge Podcast. My name's Josh. Thanks for joining me today. I got a brand new setup. I cleaned my studio, getting ready to pack some stuff up and everything else, and I put my old camera back on. I got some new equipment. I'm very excited about it, so let me know what you think. If you like this angle, this better, this light, I don't know. It's a different camera, different setup. I love it. Today we're just giving a quick update on the Barbour, Rockelle, Tiffany Smith case. Tiffany is being sued for $22 million, and it starts tomorrow. So I want to update you on it, and then I don't know if it's being televised or not, but I'm going to see if I can get some updates for the people who are going. And if this shit starts getting crazy, I'm going to have to find my way out to LA to get to this court case, because I want to see it with my own eyes. So let's talk about it. So it's not a super long article, which is why I'm just doing a Sunday update. Also because it's tomorrow, but it says a YouTube stage mom faces abuse allegations from 11 teens in court case. The mother of a famous teen YouTuber is being sued for $22 million by 11 plaintiffs who say she abused them emotionally, physically, and sexually. Basically, she's a chomo. And if you've been following me for a while, it's odd because Barbour Rockelle is a very, very large channel. Her channel has made multiples of millions of dollars. Tiffany Smith is the mom. Hunter Hill is the boyfriend / the brother and has been portrayed as the brother of Barbour. He is kind of the mastermind behind the editing and all that kind of stuff. He seems to be the more level-headed of the two, which is weird. Tiffany is a crazy person. She has I think at some point I had something like 50 cats in her house. We have covered her in depth, okay? Some of the allegations are insane. One of the things that pissed me off the most about Tiffany, and one of the allegations is that she was sending off Barbour's used bra and underwear to sell to old men, and she admitted it to one of the teens. Said, yeah, old men like to sniff them, so I'm selling them to them. That to me is crazy. Also, there's an allegation of a guy named Alex behind the scenes at YouTube that has been helping them take down other channels. So one of the big things that came out about all this was that if you went against the Barbour squad or whatever you want to call this thing, and you were a parent and you didn't want your kid to be part of that anymore, or there was beef or whatever, drama, because that's what happens with teenagers, and you wanted to go off and do your own thing, they would destroy your channel, and they have proof of this, and I think it's going to come up in this court case. So this is a class action lawsuit, and they're coming against Tiffany Rockelle, and I think they're going to have data from every channel. So all these kids that left, what are the odds that all of their channels are going to collapse? And what happens and how does that happen unless you have an insider at YouTube? Now, if this ever were to come out and there was a whistleblower at YouTube that ever said, yeah, we help big channels, we take down other channels, I can't see YouTube doing that, because in my experience at YouTube, they are actually one of the only platforms that still exist that protect their content creators who might be like me, have an opinion about other content creators. So YouTube allows me to exist. They don't take me down. Sometimes you can see it ebbing and flowing. I get a yellow dollar sign from some monetized videos because their algorithm picks it up. But otherwise, I have had a great experience being able to do what I do on this channel. So if there is evidence of an insider at YouTube, that is going to be a big deal. After all that, so we talked about the allegations. A lot of them are like disgusting, and a lot of them have to do with drugs, alcohol, sexual assault, and everything else, like sticking her thumb up kids' bums, talking sexually, We have video of Tiffany kissing a minor without his consent on camera. That was one of the first videos I did about them, and Barbour was pulling her head away. We have video evidence of her being a chomo. So I hope that comes up in court. Like, they have to prove that she's like this, and they actually have video evidence of it. And I'm sure that there is other video evidence that we haven't even seen that these parents might have. Maybe they were filming behind the scenes. But you know that Hunter Hill has every bit of raw data on the camera. They were asked to give that over and they didn't, or deleted it. I hope that comes up, because there's stuff on cameras. We've seen a police officer that was hired for one of the videos have a camera on. We saw Tiffany behind the scenes being a complete douchebag.
Well, Peggy, I don't want her in the squad anymore. They're done.
Tiffany, stop.
You didn't hear the way she spoke to me.
Yes, because you didn't give a warning of something that you should have given a warning.
I can't warn her. She tells her kid everything.
Okay, well,
She told her kid about my $30,000 trip to Hawaii.
I understand.
So what do you think exists on camera that Hunter has, right? It's mind-blowing. So let's talk about the article. So this was released April 16th, today, by Kat Tenbarg and Callan Rosenblatt. The mother of a teen YouTube star will face claims of emotional, physical, sexual abuse from 11 teens, content creators who are featured on her daughter's channel in a trial that starts tomorrow. The court proceedings will offer a rare glimpse into the lucrative and largely unregulated world of child YouTube stardom. And we've been talking about this. This is a conversation that is heating up. We're seeing rules being changed, laws being put in place. We're seeing, I think TikTok was banned in Montana, if I'm correct about Montana. So shit is happening. Social media has, the magnifying glass is on social media right now as it pertains to exploitation of children. And I'm here for it. Okay? I've been here for it. All of the teen plaintiffs allege in the complaint filed in January 2022 that Tiffany Smith, the mother of YouTube star Barbour Rockelle, intentionally inflicted emotional distress while she held a position of care and control. Control for sure. I don't think she cared about them. Over them in the production, care of control over them in the production and content for Rockelle's YouTube channel. The teen creators allege that they endured physical and emotional injuries from harassment, molestation, and abuse, according to the complaint. It is gonna get crazy because you got to believe these kids, man. Because when millions of dollars, and they know Hollywood is like this, but I have my, and here's the things to be really telling. I know I'm interrupting my own reading, but this shit's being held in LA, the hub of child exploitation in the industry. So we'll see how this goes. To the industry, to YouTube, to social media, to child actors, everything. This is actually a big deal, right? So it's going to be interesting to see if you get a fair trial here. In addition, some of the plaintiffs say they weren't compensated for the use of their likeness to promote Rockelle's content. And all of them say they weren't paid for their work and appearances, although they say they weren't promised payment. So they weren't promised payment. I think the idea was you come on our channel and your channel will explode and you'll make money. That's how Tiffany did this. But she voided all the child labor laws for some reason. She just didn't do anything. She didn't do the child education laws. She was putting out things into the, I don't know what you call those things, like casting calls. And that shit's legit. You got to have insurance for that. If you have kids on set, you got to follow the rules. So if she's got Coogan accounts, all this kind of stuff, she's doing all that stuff. But breaking all those rules, she's going to have to pay for that. These kids admittedly worked 12 plus hours a day sometimes. Often 3 to 4 times. Sometimes they said 5 times a week. That is breaking child labor laws beyond child labor laws. Okay, that's insane. That's breaking adult labor laws. Some of the allegations against Smith have repeatedly piqued interest and concerns of outsiders, offering a glimpse into the Wild West world of YouTube child stardom. YouTube itself doesn't take responsibility for the off-screen content of its creators, and there are surprisingly few regulations around the creation of social media content involving children. Let me just say that again. There are surprisingly few regulations. Let me say this. There are no regulations as far as it pertains to children on social media. Zero. The only regulation exists is that you have to be 13 to have your own channel. And the easiest way to get around this is to say parent-run channel, parent-run Instagram, parent-run whatever, mother-run this and that. There are zero rules that YouTube asks, or any social media for that matter, for you to jump, no hurdles for you to jump over to exploit your children online. Zero. Instead, the teens are each asking for roughly $2 million in damages, totaling at least $22 million from Smith and her boyfriend Hunter Hill, who the complaint identifies as the director and editor of Rockelle's YouTube channel. This guy. Creepiest people in the world. Jordan Mader is one of the other guys I gotta start talking about. I keep remembering, I keep forgetting, but I gotta do it because he's absolutely tied into the shit. The plaintiffs were all once part of a 15-year-old Rockelle's Piper Squad and were featured on a YouTube channel which has over 10 million subscribers. Children and young teenagers make up the cast of the squad, and their relationships and antics are broadcast to millions of viewers. Despite their age, the plaintiffs said they were asked to stage romantic crushes on each other meant to fool young audiences. On top of this, we've seen in the complaint that they were asked to pose provocatively. We also have footage of Hunter filming 2 13-year-old girls doing this. These videos were filmed and put on Barbour Rockelle's YouTube channel. Eliana is 13 years old. Her parents allow this to go on the internet. This is a minor. Barbour Rockelle is also 13 at the time of filming this. No kid should ever be filmed like this, ever. Everything you're watching here, Tiffany and Hunter are behind the camera, with Tiffany directing everything. Okay, those are minors, and he is filming them like they're creating prawn. Okay, so imagine that, and I can't believe that this isn't talked about more. This is crazy to me. This 25-year-old dude or 27-year-old dude, however old he is, okay, is literally filming the most suggestive sexual content with his girlfriend's daughter and her friend, to the end making money doing it, and nobody seems to care. We care, obviously, but it's not a bigger deal. And that is actually speaking for the overall state of the world we are in right now. According to the complaint and former squad member's mother, 6 of whom talked to NBC News, and the dynamics of the squad and romantic storylines have led to issues like online bullying and harassment of their children. The complaint and mother say Smith has left their children reeling from trauma. So what happens is, if you've got a giant channel of 10 million subscribers, most of which are children, teenagers, and predators, okay? Moms aren't watching this shit. Dads aren't watching it. Kids are and predators are. That's it. That's the only people watching this garbage, okay? And in that world, if most of them are teenagers living in that teenage drama world, they're creating fake drama, and when something goes on, a breakup happens or someone cheated on somebody, those kids will face online harassment because those kids don't know it's fake. There's nothing that says reenactment or that this is fake. They play it off as real. That's the thing. Kids think this is real. That's why you should never let your kids watch YouTube, everybody. Ever, ever, ever. If your kids are even on kids' YouTube, don't let them watch it. Do not let your kids on social media. I just want peace back with my kids, said Ashley Ann Rock Smith, which is Tiffany Smith's sister, by the way. That must tell you something. Whose 2 daughters, both plaintiffs, are Rockelle's cousins and appeared in 94 videos on her channel. I want all predators who hurt young kids to be brought to justice, she said. I also hope we will move the needle on these platforms that are allowing this. Now, I get what she's saying. She's looking for $2 million. And I understand that these parents have a lot of complaints, and they have the right to those complaints because Tiffany is a predator, okay? She's a chomo, and so is Hunter, okay? I get that. But don't forget that these parents want this for their children. They are not without blame in this either. None of them are. Now, I'm on their side for this because the enemy of my enemy is my friend. But don't forget, all of these parents have exploited their children for cash. Every single one of them. And knew what they were getting into when they were going into this with Tiffany. They didn't know they weren't getting paid. They didn't know they'd get screwed over and all this kind of abuse shit. But they knew. They want their kids to be famous. Most of these children, except for maybe a couple of them, didn't go to school at all. None of them have proper educations. Allegedly, Piper can hardly read. That's what we're saying. Can't do math. Nothing. Is not smart because she was not educated her whole life, because she's been on since it was Musical.ly, then into TikTok and into YouTube since she was something like 7. I find it a little bit ironic that this mom is like, I want all predators to hurt young children brought to justice. Well, that would include you, because you put your kids in that position. YouTube did not immediately return a request for comment. YouTube's not going to comment. They don't want to comment on this shit. But hopefully this is putting pressure on YouTube to say, okay, we need to start putting some rules. 16 years old, proof of age before you can have a channel that exists with kids on it, okay? If it's all about the kids, then it's like, no, I need proof that you're 16 or older, okay? And it can't just be like mom ran account. Nope. That will subvert so much of this bullshit. But family vloggers will still get away. They'll find a loophole and say, well, it's not mainly about the kids, it's about the family, and they're on here once in a while. But it would help. In July, Smith countersued for $30 million and accused the plaintiff's mothers conspiring to extort money by making false SA allegations. So she's saying, you're suing me to extort me. That's not extortion. They're suing you because you owe them money, dumbass. Smith voluntarily abandoned the lawsuit before the mothers responded, and Matthew Sarelson, one of the attorneys representing the plaintiffs, called the lawsuit baseless. She ditched it because she knew she'd lose, and it would look bad for this case coming up tomorrow. That's what would happen. So she just wanted to use her considerable funds to try to scare them all into silence or make them broke. So she dropped that case for something happened. We don't know. All this shit's going to come out in a documentary someday, and I hope I get to make it. An attorney for Smith did not respond to a request for comment. In an interview with the Los Angeles Times published in December, Smith said she didn't consider herself the plaintiff's employer at the time the videos were filmed. Smith has since acquired a permit to work with minors, she told the Times. So she broke all the rules until she got caught. That's what happened. Now she's like, I have my permits now. A little too late, asshat. So Smith is accused of child abuse and retaliation. Now, we know that Tiffany Rockelle Smith is a child herself. She acts like a child. She does voices like with the dog. She treats the kids like she wants to be a teenager. This woman should be in jail. There is literal video evidence of her essaying a minor, and she has not been held accountable at all for that. And her manager got that shit wiped from the internet for the time it happened, and didn't get this kid that happened to, he didn't press charges. And I don't know if the statute of limitations is over on that, but this woman needs to be in prison, not just sued for $22 million. We have video evidence of her essaying a minor. Nothing. Crickets, because she's a woman. On the 147-page complaint, the plaintiff described Smith as a mean-spirited control freak and alleged she made comments about child's genitalia, shouted obscene and sexually graphic remarks to them, encouraged them to be sexy and sexually aggressive in videos, and inappropriately touched the children on their legs, thighs, and buttocks. One plaintiff told Smith she was mailing Rockelle's underwear to a man who liked to sniff it. Also, there's allegations of sticking her thumb up a child's bum. I don't care if you're playing around. You don't do it. Okay? Would you do that to your own child? Who does that? As children, they do not understand. Sometimes it goes over their head. I mean, that's why children are so easy to groom. They're so easy because it goes over, they don't get it. And Stevie Arico, the mother of another plaintiff, but now they're older and they're starting to understand the trauma that was caused, the things that were said to them, those fake crushes. Again, kids don't understand this, and I've said this a million times on my channel, coming from my abuse and neglect when I was a child. That's normal. When you get out of that, and then you start realizing with age and understanding the world that it's not, then you start waking up and saying, oh my God, that wasn't normal. So many people don't realize they're growing up in abuse, they don't see it as wrong because it's their normal. Right? Some people don't realize until later they were essayed as children to some degree or abused to some degree. And then they're waking up and saying that was full on abuse. Could have been physical, sexual, could have been. Kids wake up and they know and they see it later. That's why kids rarely speak up. Arico and some of the other parents and plaintiffs had experienced the traditional media before joining the squad. Sarelson, the attorney, told NBC News that the guidelines for child actors on TV and movie sets don't apply for non-traditional filming environments, like YouTube. Arico said that the squad wasn't acting, since Smith wanted real reactions. It's all fake, everybody. It would force them to live these adult situations so that they shouldn't have been put in. All the time. Just look at her channel now. All the thumbnails of all adult situations. All inappropriate. We all love YouTube and it's a great place, but when somebody is using it as a business and pulling other children in, those people should have to uphold a certain standard, Arico said. We want there to be protections for the children, and I love this, right? And I'm glad that these parents and these children are now using their platform to say, okay, this can't happen anymore. But these parents are a little bit to blame. YouTube demonetized Rockelle's channel in February 2022 after insiders sent the platform a request for comment about the lawsuit filed against Smith. That means the channel no longer makes money from ads. Rockelle makes money by selling merchandise and is currently on tour in the US to perform music and meet fans. Badly. According to the lawsuit, in addition to not getting paid, 9 of the plaintiffs allege that Smith and Hill sabotaged their YouTube channels after they left the squad by falsely flagging their content as inappropriate and embedding their content onto pornographic websites so they would be deemed restricted by YouTube. The 9 plaintiffs said Smith and Hill owe them at least $2 million in lost earnings from YouTube. These kids are owed $2 million. That's how lucrative this is. They're probably owed more. But that's how lucrative it is. And that's why the stakes are high for this. This is why YouTube doesn't want to touch this either, everybody. I'm glad they demonetized this because the pressure was on and we should do this for everybody. All the pressure should be on all the time to demonetize all these channels. But they didn't demonetize it until the pressure was on. If Piper Rockelle, and I think I did an estimate like something like $11 to $15 million a year that they make. So if they made 11 to 16 million, that means that YouTube's doubling that and putting that in their pocket. YouTube doesn't want to mess with that shit. Some of these channels like Ryan's Toys and all that, they make YouTube hundreds of millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions. They lost their child, Sarelson said of his clients. Several of my clients have removed themselves from the world of social media because they had bad experiences. Well, good. They should be removed from, so they shouldn't be on there anyway. Even before the lawsuit was filed, Smith and the parents of former squad members pursued legal action against each other, and Rockelle became part of tabloid headlines. In September 2021, YouTube removed 3 of Rockelle's thumbnail images for violating its child safety policy shortly after the singer Pink tweeted that Rockelle was being exploited by her mother. Thank God Pink said that. Pink set something in emotion that we can't thank her enough for. Thank you, Pink. At the time, both Rockelle and Smith responded that there was nothing wrong with the photos, with Smith telling outlets through representative that she wanted to protect and support her daughter. Well, you took down inappropriate to protect and support her? Okay, why were they up there to begin with? If Smith is trying to protect her daughter, why are there videos that exist like this? Is that protecting your daughter? She's so disgusting. In April 2020, Smith sued one squad parent who isn't a party to the current lawsuit for defamation. That parent can't be part of this lawsuit because she's probably signed something that says she's not allowed to talk about this, which excludes her from this. The case was later settled, but in an August 2020 court filing, a content creator named Reagan Fingles signed a declaration accusing Smith of giving him alcohol and aggressively kissing him while live streaming when he was 17, which there is proof of. An attached exhibit contained a screenshot of the moment in the live stream. Fingles told the Los Angeles Times that the FBI interviewed him about the incident in June. In response to the Times, Smith acknowledged the kiss happened, but said the incident had been greatly blown out of proportion. How are you able to just say that to the world when we can see with our eyes it's not blown out of proportion? You kissed a minor without his consent, and they were drinking and doing drugs, and they were drinking and everything. And the FBI interviewed him, and nothing happened? What? How does the FBI look at the footage of this and say, no worries? If that were a dude doing that to a 17-year-old girl, that guy would be in prison and dead by now. The FBI did not immediately return requests for comment, obviously. Okay, as the dispute between Smith and the parents of former squad members winds up in court, the genre of YouTube content involving child influencers has only grown in popularity. Big time. Catalina Guanta, an associate professor in law and technology at Utrecht University in the Netherlands, has researched child influencers around the world and said the industry has boomed as more forms of monetization become available, like advertising revenue, merchandising, live events, and sponsorships. Still, there are few forms of protection for the child stars of YouTube. Also known as none. There are none. There are no protections. This is one of the most legal gray areas of all time. You do not need to give your kids any of the money. Tiffany doesn't have to give Piper a penny of this money. None of it. Piper could sue her mother when she turns 18 for some of it, probably be all gone by then, but they don't have to give these kids anything. None. Zero. Don't have to put them in school. Nothing. They can just hire lawyers to figure the shit out. You can have the production of Disney Channel starring your child in your home, Guanta said. We have rules for child labor, especially entertainment labor. Now we need to expand that to be applicable to the activities of children in the intimacy of their home. Also, it's way grosser than child actors because these kids are actually in their homes giving away a lot of private information that's real, not fake. They're not acting. These kids were acting for the most part, but still coerced into doing it. Attorneys for the plaintiffs said that first and foremost, they hope to get their clients compensated for their work and for the turmoil they say the teens have experienced after joining the squad. But as to whether this case will cause a ripple effect in the child influencer industry leading to more significant changes, they're unsure. It's happening. The conversation is happening. It's not, I mean, they're going to not going to put teeth on anything. They're just going to be like, you have to give these kids money, which is a start, but it's not going to help anybody. They're just going to continue to do it. There will always be loopholes as far as the government and law is concerned. One outcome that some advocates would like to see is for California to re-examine legislation that pertains to child performers, such as the Coogan Law, which affirms that earnings by minors in the entertainment industry are the property of the minor, not the parents. According to the industry union, SAG-AFTRA, the law also requires parents to put 15% of a child's earning into a blocked trust account. If the law were to be re-examined, experts and plaintiffs hope it would be adjusted to include children who make content on social media regardless whether they're under contract or belong to a guild like SAG. And it should be 80%. If your parents are doing 20% of all the work, whatever, fine. The kids should get 80%, in my opinion. This 15% bullshit is garbage. The parents aren't doing anything. If they're managing the child, then give them a manager salary. Give them what this industry standard is for a manager. Why is the parent getting 85% of a child's earnings when the child is making all the money? That's un-effing believable. The issue, Sarelson says, is that Coogan account wouldn't apply to his clients because his clients weren't paid for their time in the Piper squad. It's a highly unregulated Wild West environment. There's potential for misconduct and abuse throughout the industry, Sarelson said. You would hope the California legislature would investigate and take some action to make some changes, some modifications to the law. They're not going to. They're not going to do that. They literally just took away tons of their child exploitation officers out of the force. I interviewed Landon Starbuck about this, and she's been on it ever since. California is not interested in protecting children. California is not interested in protecting anybody. Okay? California is a bastion of bullshit. That's what it is. Leave California. In the meantime, the plaintiffs hope that Smith faces consequences for her actions. Jennifer Bryant, mother of one of the plaintiffs, put it plainly. My goal is that Tiffany Smith never works with a child again. Amen. My goal is Tiffany Smith ends up in jail. How has the FBI not put her in jail yet with the proof that we have? So, I know it was a little longer than I thought it was going to be, but there we go. So tomorrow the court case starts. I didn't see here if it's going to be televised or not. If it's going to be televised, I'm absolutely going to be live streaming that if I can get my hands on that live stream. I need to see if we can get inside this courtroom. I want to see what's going on. If one of the parents that I've been speaking to about this case can reach out to me, if you're going to the court case and can update me, I would love to be updated. I would update at the end of every court day. I want to figure out what's going on. I know this doesn't get a lot of traction on my channel, and I'm actually surprised. Well, the shit that I talk about is one of the most horrendous things I've ever seen. Okay, we can talk all day long about Doc Does and everybody else, Jeff Spam and all that shit and snark, but this shit is the real stuff. This is the most important stuff. Tiffany and Hunter have done is crazy and they should be in jail. Okay, so I want to bring this as much as possible to the forefront. Reach out to the creators that you love who cover this shit and say, ask them to cover this. It's a big deal for YouTube, everybody, so please do me a favor. So, see what we can do. And if this shit does get a little crazy, I might just head down to LA for a couple of days myself. We'll see. See if wifey lets me. That being said, everybody, take a deep breath. Let's see if we can get some justice. I've been talking about this for a while. A lot of people have been talking about this for a while. Tiffany needs to be in jail. If you know somebody at the FBI, let them know. Okay? Thanks. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here for these conversations. Thank you for being amazing, incredible, and valuable. Don't you forget it. Don't exploit your kids. Don't let your kids watch this shit either, okay? And I will see you tomorrow.